This is a big blow for the AG's office, and I tell you what, we reached out to the AG, Dana Nessel, for comment. She's in Washington today. She did not get back to us. I'll get into that in just a little minute here. But I'm at the Asbury United Methodist Church on the east side of Flint. This is one of the areas that was from the beginning was a crisis center giving out bottled water. You can imagine some of the reaction that we heard when it was told to the people here that there's no criminal charges anymore. This is the opinion by the Michigan Supreme Court, just issued today, and it was unanimous, 6-0, meaning all the justices, whether you're conservative or liberal, they said that there was essentially a mistake. And a mistake happened when Dana Nessel, I guess, took over the case, or the Attorney General decided to use what they call a one-man grand jury to come back with an indictment, criminal charges against the former governor, his then health director, Nick Lyon, and others, about 7 others, 9 in total. But the Supreme Court said that a one-man grand jury does not have the authority under Michigan law to issue criminal charges. And the remedy? Throw it all out. So that's essentially the ruling. It is a big ruling here. Now, let me just show you here. This church still has bottled water. People pick up thousands of cases of water every single week. And when they heard that they don't have any criminal charges, they were mad. And particularly they were mad because of the millions of dollars that's already been spent in this years-long prosecution. Take a look.
We've exhausted so many funds. We might as well have just made a campfire in front of City Hall and burnt money.
I don't think it's a waste of money to pursue justice.
Yet Todd Flood, the special prosecutor appointed by then Attorney General Bill Schuette, didn't use a secret one-man grand jury. Do you think the decision to use a one-man grand jury was wrong?
Yeah, I chose to use a preliminary exam. So obviously, in my opinion, it was the better way to go with the preliminary exam and to have it out in the open.
Get back into the huddle, prepare and strategize on how to criminally charge individuals that were culpable in this crime.
Do you trust the water here?
No, I will never trust the water in the city of Flint. Never. Never, ever.
I'm just going to read one line of this opinion. It's actually from Justice Bernstein, who wrote separately, but basically he said, the Flint water crisis stands as one of this country's greatest betrayals of citizens by their government. And it goes on from there. Let me bring in the pastor of Asbury United Methodist Church here in Flint. We were told by the mayor's office that the water is okay to drink, the tap water. Do you believe that?
Well, there's a difference between the water being okay and trauma being healed. I mean, the people of Flint were, betrayed by the public water system, and the reality is they were giving water to their children. They were drinking water. I mean, here at the church, I remember the revelation I had. I was in a meeting, and we were talking about all this, and I said, I still make my coffee with the water coming out of the tap. And I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about my children coming to church and drinking water here.
The fact now that criminal charges, because of this opinion, have been thrown out, what are your parishioners saying? What do you think? What do you think?
Well, there's a lot of anger, but I think there's also, I know for me, I'm just numb. I mean, unfortunately, we've seen injustice across the whole country. We talk about the pandemic of COVID. There seems to be a pandemic of justice as well. And like I said, the trauma hasn't healed. And so now the question is, what do you do when the person you feel has, potentially affected your health for the rest of your life and your children's and their children's health? And nothing happens.
It's so sad there. Pastor, thank you, but I appreciate all the work that you're doing. We know the people, we've talked to a lot of them, they appreciate that you're still getting out the bottled water. There's still a distrust of government. Thank you, Pastor. Let me just ask her one question here real quick. The question becomes, can Dana Nessel bring charges despite this ruling from the Supreme Court? I guess theoretically the answer would be yes. However, it's going to have to start from ground zero all over again, and there may be some issues with the timing of some of these criminal charges. So I would think the lawyers now are going to go back and really digest this opinion. But there's no question about it. People of Flint are still unhappy, and this kind of doesn't help the cause here. People here are still suffering. I'm live in Flint. Charlie Langton, I'll send it back to you guys.
Yes, we know the impact is going to be felt, sadly, for generations to come with the Flint water crisis. But Charlie, this was very controversial, especially because Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, fired the first investigative team that was seeking charges and then hired this second team, which at this point, it seems like it might all be, or at least most of it, a waste of time and resources.
Well, Taryn, we both covered the first prosecutor. That was Todd Flood, special prosecutor. Todd Flood said he would not have used a one-man grand jury. He didn't. He used the normal system that we cover, the preliminary exam. Charges are brought. A judge has a preliminary exam in open court, and then they go through the trial stage. And it was kind of, some of those cases were in the trial stage when Dana Nessel said, no, we're going to stop it, we're going to start over, and then brought in the Solicitor General team. But they decided this one-person grand jury, which is not really used much in Michigan, not used at all. And the court said, despite the fact that the people of Flint had suffered so much, criminal procedure is still important. And we have to respect the fairness of the trial system, of the legal system. If that goes, then we're in bad shape. And essentially, that's what the court said. By the way, there's still a civil case going on. We're not done yet. And even though Rick Snyder may not be facing any criminal charges at this point in time, he still is going to have to testify in an upcoming civil case. I'm sure we'll be reporting on that at some point in the future. Taryn?
Absolutely. A lot of layers to this one. Charlie Langton reporting live in Flint. Thank you so much.